Welcome back, winners. My name is Michael, and welcome to episode 12 of the Outside Bet. The weekend is nearly here, and it's time for our best value day of the week and a free bet on Italy's Friday night live match, Como at home. As ever, please like, subscribe, and comment on the YouTube video. Leave us a 5-star review if you're listening to the podcast, which is apparently about to start happening automatically. So you should see that in your usual feeds and the like. You might see some new graphics today all around. This is where we've got someone who's helping produce the show, and they will put on some graphics. It'll be minimal because we don't want to detract from the content, but it'll be good if people clip it and people show it back, and also it'll give us reference to our YouTube name, which apparently is a good thing. We were up small last night and our trades bailed out our big bet, which lost. We were very lucky because I pulled the pod yesterday, as I said I would. It's not every day, it's 5-6 days out of 7. And if there's nothing but one small big bet, then I won't do one. And that's what happened, and it lost. So luckily, you don't know. Unfortunately, for the big paid subscribers, they did know, they bet on it and they lost, which is always a bit of a grumble. Luckily, they got the trades as and when they happened, and it left us small up for the day, small up for the week. It's not always a bed of roses, but it's not a down week. The track record for the podcast, obviously, is absolutely amazing. And so if you're watching this and you're watching this every day, or you're watching little clips on TikTok, or you're a subscriber to any of our patron services, well done. We're 2 on 2 for the week with the big bets. And we're 6 out of 7 if you're looking at a 2-week view. Depends on how you look at your rolling P&L. We're 10 from 12 on the podcast. We don't keep records forever, but we're brand new into this podcast. We know how successful the system is. Remember, the system is purely an attempt to win more bets than you lose and make all the bets at 50-50, even money returns. If you can win 60% of those, then your account is up. We put on a lot more bets than we give out on this show, but the math still applies. You just have to have a longer time period. For sure, if you pay to become one of our patron levels, then you can get more bets. But at the end of the day, you might not have enough money for that, and in which case, just stay on YouTube. It's free. You get a big bet as long as you keep consistently betting the same stake, which you can see in our Protect Your Bank Evergreen video. That's all good. Now, we are going to do something slightly different on today's podcast because we are looking on a Thursday at all the leans and great value for the weekend. It doesn't leave us a great deal of time to talk about anything else. Obviously, at the end, there will be the big bet. But if we look quickly back at last night's Champions League, I don't know what we can really say about Arsenal that hasn't already been said. Those Arsenal fans are starting to get annoying because this looks unbelievable. I mean, Declan Rice's performance must put him in the shortlist for the Ballon d'Or, although it has to be said, if Arsenal were to win the Champions League, if Arsenal were to win the Premier League, and if England were to win the World Cup, I still think a player from Real Madrid would win the Ballon d'Or. It's just how those boys in Europe love us so much. What can we say about Liverpool that hasn't already been said? Those fans were really annoying last year, but now it's just a sad, sad situation. I don't know whether it's a combination of Diego Jota, whether you're seeing a shortfall in Arne Slot, whether you're seeing the aging off of the big players. It's a mess, and it can't be fixed because they have no centre-back cover for Konate, who needs to be pulled from the team. I've gone against them in our leans this week, which is a little sneak preview as to what's coming next. It's just a disaster, and it's not going to improve. I mean, the transfer window can't come soon enough. They will buy a centre-back. They will probably buy a 6. And with Mo at the African Cup of Nations and Vert able to play with more freedom, they might actually look a little bit less burdened when Mo's not here. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon that says Mo should be dropped or any of that nonsense. I'm just saying that to free up this team, something needs to change. The burden of going behind is just too big for them. We will have lots of trades and lots of little bets on tonight's UEFA Cup action, but as bets go, they'll be in the private WhatsApp group, and because that's what they actually pay for, they get all of the bets. Remember that all the different tiers will be explained on the up-and-coming Evergreen podcast about the patron tiers, and that's where we're going to next. On Thursdays, the books form for the weekend. I don't know whether you know this, but it means you can start getting early bets and early leans on quite a lot of Asian handicaps, goal markets, win markets, overs and unders, and a few other bets. Basically, the bookies add them in as volume hits. So if they post up match odds and someone bets £2,000 on it, they might put on over and under 2.5 goals. someone bets on that, they might put over and under 1.5 or 3.5, depending on the lean on the market. And that's how it works. And eventually you get to bet builders and you get everything else. They don't want to leave themselves exposed to an incorrectly priced book. We want an incorrectly priced book because that's what value looks like to us. So we have this tricky thing when Thursdays we can put out a lot of our bank. I always find that the value gets eaten up, that the market will drift towards our predictions. And the reason for that is simple. We believe that our predictions are right. The market probably agrees with us. As more people bet on them, the value goes. So Thursday is a very big day. You have to be super careful when betting on Thursdays because the spreads might be very wide on the book and there might be very little volume available. And if you take down some of the volume, you will widen the spread if there is nothing behind it. That said, we've been doing this a long time. We've been recommending to our members for a long time, and we're very good at it. If you're not good at it, and you're just new or you're making small amounts of bank, then try and look on Thursdays for things you think will happen or you've heard me say will happen. And then if I say their value or you discover their value through your own models, why don't you have a look at putting something small on? There is a slight loss of liquidity here. If you bet on Thursday for a Sunday game, you can't bet on tonight's UEFA Cup game with that money. To put that into context, this morning I've already bet about 90% of my personal trading bank, the bank for the syndicate money. Now, lots of people wouldn't want to do that because they want to bet on Thursday night, they want to bet on Friday night, and my bets are predominantly a little bit on Friday, a lot on Saturday, and a little bit on Sunday. But as it happens, I know this is the best value. I know if I push all my money out using my 5% rule, please see the Protect Your Bank Evergreen video. I also know that the majority of these bets, or I hope that 50% plus, so 60% of these bets will come in. They're all on the evens. I know that over the weekend, my bank will be returned to me. I hope that it will be returned to me up 20% on the whole, but I might not win, I might win, I might lose. It doesn't matter. That's the theory. And I back the theory every week and I'm up most weeks. And as long as I'm up more weeks than I'm down, and as long as I'm only returning evens or better, then I'm already winning. Again, it all comes down to the same thing. If I make 10 bets, if I make 200 bets, it doesn't make any difference as long as I win more than half and I return double. It's a double or quit strategy that's as old as the hills for beating the casinos in Vegas if you want to play roulette and you can find a casino that will let you do that. They won't, of course. Now, this is just going to be a very boring piece of me reading out leans. And the reason I'm doing this is simple. If you are a patron on our top tier, you will not only get sent the score sheets of our predictions for every single market, which looks like this every week, which we send out to anyone on the intermediate tier, effectively it's called, on the patron, 20 quid a month. You get all of our scores for all of our leagues as soon as we can complete them. But it's not just the scores. It shows the total goals down to the decimal. It shows the score of the match down to the decimal. It then reworks that into exact scores. And then you can take that to any bookmaker, find out what you think their even money price is. So say, for example, we have the game being 3 goals. We've got 3 goals on our list. You go to a bookmaker and you find that evens is 2.5 goals. That means there's value in the overs market. That's how it works. And if it's a half goal value, we call that a lean. And if it's a full goal value, we call that a bet. Now, there's going to be a higher tier of patrons for the patrons, and the highest tier is going to be £40 a month. And for that, you will receive a private video in the patron website. And that video will be me reading out, very boringly, a list of leans, which are either bets or leans, but they're more than half a goal advantage as it stands. We will do that on Thursdays for definite, and we will try and do it on Monday or Tuesday if we can get enough value in midweek slates, i.e. if we can get more than 5 or 6 leans. We will just read out the leans. We won't differentiate between what's a bet and what's a lean. And the reason for that is simple, because there are people in the private WhatsApp group who get every single bet as and when we place it. That's nothing to do with this service. It's not for here, and it's not for most people, because most people cannot afford to pay £75 a month, and most people should not pay that. They should just have fun with their betting and not become serious gamblers. So if we go through the leans as they are, I'm just going to read them out by league, and I'm just going to read them out and then move on to the free bet at the end of the video. As ever, this is what you will receive if you are a high-level patron on a Thursday every week. So starting in Italy, we've got leans on Como, Parma, overs in the Genoa match and Genoa, Lecce, Pisa, overs in the Roma game and Roma, overs in the Bologna game and Bologna. When I say Bologna, I mean that's the supremacy market of Bologna winning the game. Into Germany, we have Mönchengladbach overs, we have Union Berlin supremacy. We have overs in the Bayern game and Bayern. I never bet on the big horses in Germany and Spain and France, and that is because you can't tell what squad they're going to put out, how much they're going to try and win the game by. We've got overs at Hoffenheim, we've got Hoffenheim supremacy, we've got Leverkusen supremacy, and we've got Frankfurt supremacy. Moving on to Spain, moving on to Brazil, only half a card is priced, but we've got Sao Paulo, which is an away game. We've got overs in Juventude, and we've got overs in Internacional and Internacional supremacy. Let me just check the next market. The next market we're looking at is the Premier League. We've got overs in Brentford. We've got Brentford supremacy. We've got overs in Man City and Man City supremacy. We've got Everton supremacy at home. We've got overs in the Palace game. We've got the Palace supremacy. We've got overs in the West Ham game and West Ham supremacy. We've got Villa supremacy, overs at Forest, Forest supremacy, and Chelsea supremacy over Arsenal. Remember that in games where there's overs and a team being better than the supremacy, that is probably the same bet. It's just saying that we think there'll be more goals than the bookies, and therefore we think that the team the bookies think will win by more than they think they'll win by. It's the same over goals bet. So don't bet on both, just bet on one. Little cheeky bet on Chelsea there? Maybe, maybe not. Arsenal are hard to back against, aren't they? Moving on to Spain, we've got Mallorca supremacy. We've got unders in the Barcelona game. Again, I never bet against Barcelona. Unders in Levante and Levante supremacy. Overs in Atletico Madrid and Atletico supremacy. And moving on to Sunday, there's some early value in Girona, but I never bet against Real Madrid. And Rayo Vallecano, there's a little bit of a supremacy lean there, but that's a Monday night game and that's too long to tie up your liquidity for. There's nothing much in the Championship yet. There's a load of games on Saturday and there's another slate next week. But the problem with the Championship is it only finished last night, which means the books aren't fresh, which means there isn't anything. The only thing I will say is we don't currently have any leans on the Oxford. We don't currently have any leans on the Oxford Ipswich game on Friday night. Whoa, that's a long pod with a lot of talking from me. But that goes to show what you will get when you join our Patreon at the top tier. You will get a list of me reading out the leans. You will then be able to nip on. Say you liked me saying, I don't know, that there was value in Man City goals. You would then go on to your favourite bookmaker. You would check that there's value in Man City goals on that bookmaker rather than mine. But it doesn't matter. There probably will be because all the bookmakers are priced off each other roughly. You can find more value by using Odds Checker. And then you go and bet on anything you want on Man City that involves lots of goals. Shots, attacking play, they're all going to be value. The bet builders, individual player goals probably, although Haaland is always overpriced. But anyway, you get the picture. You could probably get great value on Cherky and Foden, for example, this weekend. But we're going to timestamp this video at 13 minutes and 21 seconds, which means that anyone jumping here is going to jump to 13 minutes, 30 seconds for the Big Bet summary. Hello, Big Bet jumpers. Welcome to the Big Bet Jump. Now, please like, subscribe, and comment on this YouTube video and leave us a 5-star review if you're listening to the pod. I know you've just jumped here. If you have just jumped here, please do so. You've actually missed something really important in today's podcast, so go back and listen. And it shows how we find the value early on a Thursday and why we will be giving out leans to the top tier of our Patreon members going forward once the Patreon's established. And it's an example of what you'll receive. So you missed all of the leans, all of the value plays, which I listed from the top 6 leagues that we cover. And you've missed it because you jumped here. But anyway, I'd promised you a straight jump to the point, and Friday is Friday day, and we need to bet on Friday. It's the least good day actually of the weekend, so I had to scratch around a bit. But anyway, I found you one because I know everyone loves to bet on Fridays. Long Como, that's the value. The best way to play it seems to be long Como at the -3/4 of a goal handicap. That leaves us winning half a big bet if Como win the match, a full big bet if they win by 2 goals, and that's the beauty of the Asian handicap market. But they're under the lights, they're on great form, and they're scoring. They should win the game. And if they win by 1 or any win, we win half a big bet. And if they win by 2, we win the whole big bet. It's not quite evens, it's just under, but it's the best I can get on this Friday night. And the rest of all the leagues around Europe, they've only got one game each, and it's not good value. I'm going to stick the pods track record on it. I'm going to stick the pods money on it, and I'm going to be back to back it myself, of course. So that all that remains to be said, of course, is good luck, goodbye, and I'll be back tomorrow with a first look at Saturday and Sunday's values and hopefully free bets. Be nice, be safe, everyone, and love you lots, and I'll see you soon.